It's time for another edition of Ask the CM, and in the studio right now we have the Worcester City Manager, Eric Batista. Mr. City Manager, thank you for coming in again this morning.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming in and answering some questions from our listeners. It's all about the snow once again. Last time you were here,
Literally.
We had a giant storm, and people had questions about the snow. And so please, if you could, I got a couple of questions here, mostly about removal.
Yes.
Now, I've had a lot of people text or post questions saying, how are you getting rid of this? Someone suggested hiring or calling it. And now you have no pull with any National Guard, but having come in here with flamethrowers and melting this stuff.
Oh, geez.
Or hooking up these industrial leaf blowers with heating units to melt the snow.
Yes.
Or someone said, I know they have melters, actual melters.
They do.
Does the city have any access to those?
Yes.
And so people are specifically like, where can we put this stuff?
Yes, no, absolutely. And then you're exactly right. This snow removal is going to continue on for probably another week or so, if not further, hoping that we don't get more snow.
Right.
We have tons of equipment. We have big, massive snow blowers that blow it right into dump trucks. We have basically tractor trailers who are coming in and hauling stuff away. We got bulldozers picking things up and throwing things out. We have snow farms, so all that is being dropped in those areas. We even have heaters that heat the snow. The only thing that those types of heaters sometimes takes a little longer, and so it takes it takes a while for that to process. But we're doing everything, all hands on deck to make sure that we go through just right now when I was driving in up on the Vernon Hill area, some of those hills up there, I saw our crews pull, with an actual bulldozer coming in, taking snow right off the sidewalks, right off trying to open up the path in those hills and throwing it right into the dump truck. So we're going to continue doing that throughout the weeks to try to clear up as much as possible. We're hoping for warmer weather so that temperatures can come down and things start to melt a little bit more. But we're doing everything we can to make sure we clear some of the snow.
With that, because we got 40 degrees this weekend, maybe even 50 on Saturday.
Yeah.
So is there a plan? Because I would imagine that creates a ton of flooding. Is there some kind of plan in place for when that happens?
So that's why when DPW does their best to clear the streets, especially to try to clear as best as possible to the curb, it's for that reason, so that the catch basins are opened up and so that if it does melt and water comes down, it can get into the catch basins. If all the catch basins are covered and we're not doing our job in trying to widen in the streets and taking care of that, then that can present some flooding situations. But the crew, again, they're going to be there all day, every day, throughout the week to make sure that they're removing as much snow as possible. Doesn't mean we're going to get through it to every catch basin in the city,
right?
But we're going to try to mitigate those areas that could potentially lead to any flooding.
So someone asked, why doesn't the city do what they do during like leaf pickup or street sweeping? Because I remember last time we talked, one of the big challenges was cars. And
Correct.
People either don't move their cars or can't move their cars. There's nowhere to put the cars.
Yeah.
Why doesn't the city come in and put up the orange warning signs ahead of time and saying, listen, you got to move your car. We got to, like you said, clear for the drains, go curb to curb.
Yeah, so the leaf pickup is the reason why we do the orange sign is because there's not an ordinance that tells people to move from one side to the other.
Okay.
It's more of a program that it's based on a schedule that we create. And so we say this area of the city, we're going to come and address that. So we got to put signs on that area. And then within a specific time, we're going to come by and move that. In the winter, in most communities, including Worcester, there's a snow ban that happens, a parking ban that happens. And in some areas is a permanent ban, and some areas is only when there's the snow. And the ban happens from December 1st to April 30th, I believe. And so, but people don't pay attention to those signs on the road that there's a ban there.
Right.
And some of them, like I said, they're permanent. And when they're temporary, the city issues a temporary ban for the sake of the snow. And we issue that so that people know, hey, you got to move your vehicle so that we can get through. Otherwise, it is a little bit more difficult to create a program that, hey, we're going to hit the streets, we're going to do this, etc. That's why sometimes we try to expand the ban a little further so that people know do not park in those areas, so it gives us the time to go in there and clear those areas.
I just think that there's people that can't find places to put their cars. It would just make it a little easier because what was the last storm? It was like 400-something cars got towed or something like that. And for rightly so. You got to clear the streets, and it's impossible to do that with them there. But a little if they can't put their car anywhere, they can't find alternate parking, like you mentioned Vernon Hill earlier, neighborhoods like that, neighborhoods I live in, over here near Newton Square. Isn't there any way to give some kind of warning that way? I know I know you just said that there's the parking ban is in effect, but for the people who are having a hard time.
Yeah, so we give warnings through social media, websites. I mean, we put out messaging as much as possible. We're going to be launching a new notification system, alert system that people can have direct alerts to their phones. And so that will be another better way for people to get access and information so they know when to move vehicles. But at the end of the day, right, we have limited space in some of these streets. And that sometimes when you have two vehicles on both sides and people are not moving their vehicle, as difficult it is to find the parking, if they don't do that, we can't even get a plow because the plow is so wide enough that we can't even get in because some of these roads are tight. And so, it's a combination of, yes, we need to communicate. We'll need to improve our communication, and that's something that we've acknowledged. But also there's a part where the residents have to play a role in that as well.
All right. I don't want the snow to dominate this session, because a lot of the same questions were from last time, too, the same things. But I appreciate that. But let's move on to the city is in the middle of a lawsuit with Holden. Holden is saying that the city of Worcester has overcharged them sewage transfer fees for the past, was like 13 years. Yeah. And so they're looking for $35 million. I know the city and the town of Holden are trying to work something out, but $35 million, if the city has to pay that, how's that going to affect the residents? Like, will the taxpayers have to put that up?
Yeah, so it's a great question. It's an important question that a lot of people right now are asking a lot of questions. I haven't spoken about it really publicly. I've tried to stay away from kind of making statements or even speaking about it publicly because I want us to exhaust every possible a legal remedy that we could, and that's what we did. We exhausted everyone possible, including the appealing to the SJC, the Supreme Court, which we were notified that they were not reviewing that. In this process, through over the past 6 months or more, we've been reaching out to Holden to settle and negotiate a settlement, come to the table in good faith and negotiate a settlement. That hasn't been fruitful. And so we're going to continue to try to do that and try to get them to come to the table for settlement. This is something that literally when I took on the role as city manager, we had already been in trial. That has been passed, and the decision came. Right. And so as soon as I took on the role of city manager about 3 years ago, I was dumped this kind of situation. And from there, like I said, we try to exhaust every remedy in the legal system. In the meantime, there was a lot of conversations that were happening with it, whether it was the state or even with Holden, to try to find resolutions to this matter. The city of Worcester financially is in a good place, and we've always been in a good place where we've done what we could to stabilize our accounts, to stabilize our reserves. This is part of the sewer enterprise accounts. And so the impact is going to be to the sewer. I know people have been saying water, but it's not water. It's a sewer system. And so right now what it is all the flow from Holden, West Boylston, and Rutland come through the city of Worcester and then right into the upper Blackstone where that treatment facility treats all the waste. And that's what's been happening since 2000 when they built the systems. The state built those infrastructure in those towns. And so, again, that's something that we know that it's an unfortunate that it's come kind of this far with Holden balloon interest over the city while continuing to benefit from the system, right? And so right now, one of the challenges that we have is we're trying to figure out a way to get. So the judgment was 14.6. there's about over $11 million of interest. What we're trying to do is say, Holden, come to the table and let's figure out a solution outside of this interest. You got to come off the interest so that we can have a discussion about a settlement. And that's where we're at. We're trying to encourage that and trying to find a path forward. The reality is that Holden is, as we know, is a much wealthier community than Worcester. 85% of the residents live in single-family homes. The percentage of its residents below the state's poverty level is about 3.7%. The state average is 10.4%. Worcester is at 20.9%, right? And so we're trying to make sure that whatever we do as a city, again, we're providing a service to these communities. We're providing a service to Holden. At the end of the day, doesn't the resident of Worcester, the taxpayers of Worcester, feel like Holden should pay somewhat equivalent to what Worcester residents pay? Or should Holden pay less than what Worcester pay, or when they benefit the same system?
But they were overcharged. I mean, isn't it right to, I'm just taking the other side here. Isn't it right that if they were overcharged, that they're owed that money? I mean, they have a right to ask that. I understand you're saying that Holden's got the money. They have more money than we do. But if it was somebody's mistake, should the taxpayers be responsible for that? Who made that mistake to overcharge them?
I think there's a misunderstanding on the clarity of what really happened. The state of Massachusetts was going to build infrastructure in these communities, and they came to the city of Worcester and they said to Worcester, "Look, we need your help because the only way to get the wastewater and the waste from Holden to Millbury has to come through Worcester." And we said, okay, if that's going to happen, then we need to make sure that, one, they don't pay more than Worcester residents, right? And so we'll negotiate, we'll get experts, and we'll figure out a way to negotiate a rate. And so Worcester negotiated a rate with the state of Massachusetts. And the state of Massachusetts agreed to the rate that Worcester proposed. They agreed to that rate. And then the state of Massachusetts then told Holden, this is the rate that we negotiated with Worcester. You have to take this rate if you want to receive the wastewater, if you want to. And then the state of Massachusetts utilized their funds to build the system in Holden. And so that's the complexity of this thing, right? Is we negotiated with the state. The state made a decision to accepting that rate in a negotiation. They accepted a rate, and then they applied that rate to Holden as the user. And that's what the entire lawsuit was about. And so Holden felt as though that Worcester was unjustly enriched, or that the state had breached the contract in terms of the contract they had with the state. But because of a statute of limitation, the state has, the Holden took too long in basically suing the state. So the state was off the hook, and Worcester was unjustly enriched. That's really the crust of the situation.
They kind of held on to it for a while. See,
that's really the situation. And so at the end of the day, if we negotiated an agreement and you signed a contract and this is what I'm going to pay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
So then the lawsuit came and the argument came, but because the state, again, the time has surpassed to sue the state because of the statute of limitation, Worcester then became the target of the judgment.
Right.
And that's what we've been trying to deal with ever since, and trying to find a path forward with Holden in some level of settlement here. And
to go back to the roads, I'm not going to talk about snow. Although this is a byproduct of snowstorms.
Yeah.
I have to say it, and Worcester is renowned for the potholes. We have several, deep, large, wide. They're everywhere. And now I heard that the city was working with an organization, I believe it's pronounced Civil.
Yes.
That actually came out of WPI.
Yes.
And they use AI to locate and try to repair potholes.
Yeah.
Is that still happening?
Yeah. So if you look, actually, CBS News did a report on Worcester in 2021, where they had a video of their car and their technology, and they interviewed the individual named Daniel at our Hope Cemetery. If people Google CBS News Worcester, what they used is they created this technology, or they utilized LiDAR technology and created these sensors on vehicles where they could get images, 3D images, but also get enough data to let them know about potholes in the city. And so over the past years, they've expanded. They've gotten venture money and been able to expand their company. They're now based out of Somerville, and they have a massive data across many communities across the entire state. And so what they do is they now contract with communities that if you want access to this data, we provide you a subscription, an annual subscription, that you get access to this data that helps you to inform you on either potholes, crosswalks, sidewalks, all the built environment of the city. And we've been in contract with them. We've been utilizing their data to inform our ability, our strategies on how do we not only tackle the potholes, but also how do we address our redesign of infrastructure, how to even locate how many crosswalks do we have across the city. And so there's different ways that we utilize that data. The most recent way that we've utilized is we implemented what is called a pavement management program. And that management program is that historically we used to wait till the streets were in complete disrepair, and then we just repair all of it all again. But that just takes too long, and it's too costly to do that. And there's better ways to sustain and manage and maintain your roads so that you can preserve the life of that road a little longer. Whether it's sealing some cracks, whether it's doing some patching, whether it's using different types of technologies. Like last year, we used a chip seal, and that allows us to expand to more streets, more maintenance, and that data has helped us to do that. So the company itself doesn't repair potholes, but it provides data enough that gives us an ability to strategize on how to repair and how to maintain our roads. All
right. Well, I appreciate you coming in this morning. Thank you for answering those questions. There is a pothole over by WPI at the intersection of the corner of Salisbury and Park Ave there, and it's got to be 8 feet deep. So please, if you could prioritize that.
All right.
I thought I was a goner.
Okay. 8 feet deep is goner. Yes.
It was like, I was like, where am I right now?
It's like a canyon.
Yeah. But I appreciate you answering the questions on that this morning and dealing with the snow questions again.
No, absolutely.
That's the big concern is the back roads, you know, and there's so much, and I understand it takes time. I talked to a lot of plow drivers on Monday, you know, who are out there working, and it takes a lot of time.
Yeah. The good news is that, one, I just want to give a kudos and shout out to our entire DPW crews and all the contractors and everybody out there. Over the past month, they've been working hours and spending days, significant amount of time. And so I want to just give a shout out and praise to them for the work that they're doing. But two, we're just lucky we're not on the east or southern coast of the city where they got hit hard.
Yeah, my mother lives in Cranston.
Yeah.
They got 37 inches.
Yeah. Can you imagine? I don't even know where to put 37 inches.
Yeah, I can't even. If we got that, I mean, you wouldn't even be here probably. No. I'd be sleeping here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we just, we're thankful for that, but also we're just thankful and grateful for the work that the men and women that are doing out there, from contractors to the state has been helping out to our DPW crews, everybody, just all hands on deck. So we appreciate that.
All right. That's your Worcester City Manager, Eric Batista. Thank you very much for coming in, answering the questions.
Thank you, Mike.
And hopefully we can do it again next month, and hopefully there won't be any snow to talk about.
Hopefully.
All right. Thanks for coming in.